Hey everyone, I'm Stuart, founder of DMARC Defender, and in this video we're going to be setting up SPF DKIM in DMARC in conjunction with Google Workspace. So if you're sending email from a custom domain within Gmail, this video is for you. We're going to start with the easy one first. So for all three of these protocols, we're going to be editing DNS records, which might sound complicated or technical, but it's really not too bad. I think over 5 million domains already have SPF installed, and millions will soon. It's a very common thing. It's not too bad. As long as we do things correctly and carefully, you're not going to break anything. It'll be fine. Um, so like I said, first we're doing SPF. So for SPF, we have a DNS record that we either need to edit an existing one or create a new one. So if you have an existing one, we're going to be adding this mechanism into your existing policy. If not, we're going to be creating a new one, and we're going to be creating something like this, which I'll show in a second. For all of these, the record type we're going to be using is a text. We're going to be putting this on the root of the domain, which I'll show what that looks like in a second. And we're going to set the TTL to just an hour, so 3,600 seconds. So to edit the DNS records, you have to know who your DNS provider is. So this could be GoDaddy, Namecheap, WordPress, Cloudflare, Route 53, a bunch of different people. If you don't know who it is, there's a tool. You can go to DMARC Defender. I'll put this URL in the description. We'll make this big. We're going to type in the domain. So for this example, I'm going to be using a personal domain I have, Conrad.io. If we scroll all the way to the bottom, it shows you who your DNS provider is. So for my personal domain, I'm using Amazon Route 53. So we're going to edit the records there. But again, the instruction applies to pretty much all the DNS providers. They're all pretty much the same. So I'm going to go to Route 53. We'll sign into console. We'll go to Route 53. We're going to go to our domain. My domain is Conrad.io. Let's move this around. So there's two different cases. Either you have an existing SPF record and we need to edit the old record, or we're going to create a new one. So to check, again, you can use the domain check tool, which will tell you if you have an SPF record. So if you scroll up, we can see I already have an SPF record. It's this. You can also go through the DNS panel to double check, and we can see if we go to the root domain, we're looking for a record type of text. We can see that there is one right here. So if there is already existing record, we're going to edit that record. And here's where we would include the spfgoogle.com. We can see I already have it, so I don't need to edit anything. But this is where we would do it if we wanted to add the record. We can see there's no subdomain. We're using text, and we're using 1 hour for a TTL. So I'll click Save. If we wanted to create a new record, we can go to Create Record. Again, the domain will be blank. We're going to use a text record, and then that value, I can copy it from here. We'll put it in here. We're going to get rid of this include since we don't need this. We'll do a TTL of an hour, and we're all set. So this is saying that we're using SPF. We want to allow emails. We want to allow Google to send emails from our domain. And if it's not Google, we should block it. Technically, we're going to set everything in reporting mode, so it won't be blocked. It's just this is how you set up SPF. And cool, then you would click Create Records. Since I already have an SPF record, you don't want to have two records. I'm not going to create another one. This is how you would do it if you needed to create a new record. Cool. So we have set up SPF. Next, we're going to move to DKIM, domain keys identified mail. So for this, we're going to create a record that kind of looks like this. To do this, this one's a little bit different because now we need to get the value that we're going to set in our DNS record from Google. So we're going to go to this link. Click here. Need to sign into Google Admin. Again, all these links will be in the description. You can also just go to Google search and you can probably find this too. Again, millions of domains have set up DKIM. So we're in the admin panel for Google. Let me make this a bit bigger. So this is under apps, workspaces, Gmail. That link should just take you right here, but if it doesn't, apps, Google Workspace, Gmail, and we're going to go down to authenticate email. So set up email authentication, DKIM. We're going to click on that. Here, we're going to select our domain. Again, we're doing it for Conrad, and I don't have DKIM set up, so we're doing this live. So we're going to generate a new record. For this, we want it to be 2048. These are just a little bit small for modern day, so we want to do the full key bit length, and the Google selector will be Google, or the DKIM selector will be Google, which is good. We're going to click Generate, and so now it has generated the record. So last time we were doing v equals SPF1 or whatever, now we're doing v equals DKIM, and we're going to put it on the domain that starts with google.domainkey. Last time we just did a blank. This time we're doing google.domainkey. So I'm going to go back to this. We're already here, but I'll go back anyways. We're going to go here, create record. So we're creating a brand new one. So again, it was google._domainkey. So we can check that again. It was google._domainkey. Again, you can copy and paste this if you want. And we're going to create a text record. And this is that value we copy and pasted. So going back, I copied and pasted this. And we're going to put this in here. We'll put the TTL, we'll just put it at an hour. You can do 5 minutes, which is fine. An hour is a little bit better. This is just a caching policy. And we're all set. So then we'll hit create record. So this can happen. It depends on who your provider is. So DNS records technically have a default length of a single continuous string, but you can chop it up into pieces by using quotes. So we're going to put a quote at the start. We're just going to kind of estimate where halfway is. So I'm going to put another quote here, do a space, put another quote, and then at the very end, put a quote. And so what this is going to do is roughly split our record in half, but the actual things that query this DNS will put it or concatenate them together. But again, we put a quote, quote, space, quote. So there's a quote, a space, and a quote. It's just putting it on new lines, and then a quote at the very end. And we'll see if this works. And that worked. Cool. Let me close this. Let's see if we can find it. So we did, it was Google_DKIM, and we can see it's right here. Let's see if we can do it. And this is our record. To verify that this worked correctly, again, we can use the domain tool. Let's go back. We'll see if it found the DKIM cool. So we'll see if it's not live yet, but we'll check again in a bit. Cool. Once that's all done, we're going to click Start Authentication. I assume it checks to validate that our DNS records are correct. I don't actually know if it does, but again, we'll check it at the very end to make sure everything's working correctly. But it says DKIM authentication settings updated. So now Google will start signing emails it sends from our domains cryptographically, so other people that receive it know that Google is actually allowed to send emails, which is good. And last is DMARC, so domain-based message authentication, importing, and conformance. This is the policy that sits on top of your SPF and DKIM and kind of tells it what to do. So we're going to be setting a record that kind of looks like this. It's going to be, again, a record type of text. At the host name, we're going to install this one at _DMARC, and then your domain, it'll have a value similar to this, and a TTL. And so what this says is, again, it's DMARC. It says we're putting everything in report only mode. So don't block any emails. Just let us know if anything is broken. And if something, and let us know the status of emails. You don't actually need this, but I would recommend it. And we'll talk more about it in a second. I already have DMARC installed on this domain, so I'm just going to pretend I don't. We're going to create a new record. So again, it was _DMARC .conrad.io. Again, it was a text record. And here, this is where we put that DMARC policy. So you can copy again. I'll put this below. But something like this. You want to change this out, obviously. Taking a step back, technically you don't need this. So you could just do this. This is saying, yes, I have a DMARC policy, and it is set into none mode. So the other options would be quarantine or reject. And so this is how you block people from spamming and impersonating your domain. If you're there, great, you should do that. But if you haven't checked to see, make sure all your services are authenticated, don't do that. Otherwise, you will block your legitimate mail. To make sure you're doing things correctly, you can use this reporting mechanism. So what this will do is when email providers receive emails from your domain, it'll generate little reports and it'll send it to you, letting you know if your email is fully authenticated or not. Even if you don't plan on actually reading these reports, I still recommend setting it up so that in the future, if something is broken, you can look back at your historical reports and determine what's wrong. And again, the historical reports are also in this kind of convoluted XML. You're not going to be reading them directly. There's a bunch of free online tools that you just drag and drop your XML into, and it'll tell you like what you need to do. Again, DMARC Defender has one. It's under the tools section. So for me, the personal email I use is conrad@conrad.io. So I would do something like this if I was setting it up and I'm not using a vendor. I also do something like this. If you're in Gmail, you can add these little tags. You don't have to do this, but that way I can easily create a filter on it. And then I can, put it in some folder that automatically gets archived. We'll do that. We'll set it to 1 hour, so 3,600 seconds. And here I would create, but again, I already have a DMARC record, so I'm not going to do that. And that is it. So at this point, all 3 records should be set up. At this point, you are all done. I'm going to cover a couple of the common mistakes and gotchas. If you encounter anything that is not on this list, please, or if something else is going wrong, please just leave a comment below. I'll try to address it as fast as I can. This is my full-time job, setting up DMARC, so please let me know if I can help. First things first, I highly recommend using that domain check tool. There's already 40 checks in it. Again, it's completely free. You don't have to log in or anything. Just type in your domain. So here's Conrad. We can see we have a DMARC record. No issues were found. This is not the record I installed. This is once you're fully set up with DMARC, we can see I reject all spam, so no one can impersonate my domain. And I use a tool for collecting these reports, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. Here is the SPF record that we installed. Technically, it was already there, but we can pretend we installed. We can see everything is all set up here. Looks good. The SPF tree, which we'll talk about in a second. Here's the DKIM record, so it's finally live now. So I was able to find it. Again, DNS just takes a little bit of time to propagate. We can see Google is set up correctly, and we have that record set up correctly. So everything is good, and this covers a lot of the basic checks. A common mistake I see is in route in here. I will sometimes see people do this. We can see, and it's going to depend on your DNS provider, but we can see the .conrad.io is already provided, so we don't need to type it in again. We only need it once. Just a very common mistake, or maybe an extra period. I don't actually know what happens if you do an extra period. I would imagine Route 53 removes it, but yeah, including this. So the full domain that is being installed is underscore dmarc.conrad.io.conrad.io. This is not quite what we want. So you can get rid of that. Another mistake, I just saw this last weekend. I was helping someone, is when they copied and pasted, they had an extra space out the front. So as you're installing those records, make sure you don't have like a sneaky space right here. The tool that I talked about will catch this issue, but you should still just verify manually that you don't have an extra space, because I think some of the email providers explicitly look to make sure that the record starts with a v equals DMARC1, and if it doesn't, that's an issue. Again, multiple DMARC or SPF records, you should only have one. Again, the tool, again, it checks all this stuff, but it will, your DMARC and SPF will break if you have multiple records. That is something that the policy does not allow. The next one is a little bit more complicated, but if you are a larger organization, and you have multiple things already in your SPF policy, there's something called the 10 lookup limit for SPF. And so what that means is to kind of just stop nasty people from doing these attacks called denial of services and other maybe recursive lookups and stuff like that. The max amount of things you can have in your SPF policy is 10. Being a little bit vague, technically it's 10 lookups, and different things have different lookup amounts, which is its own topic by itself. But if you go over 10, it will not work. So you can use the tool to check to see how many lookups you're at. Google only requires one lookup. So if you were already at 10 and you added Google, you would be at 11 and your policy would no longer be valid. Again, this is a kind of a weird case unless you're at a large organization, but something to keep in mind. If you go over 10, there's an article on the blog that covers it, but basically you want to either clean up your SPF policy, find old vendors that you're no longer using, or there's solutions such as SPF flattening, which is what something DMARC Defender offers, or there's also macros that you can look into. And last is to enable reporting. So if email is critical to your business, if customers need to receive emails, which I imagine is true of most businesses, I'd highly recommend making sure that you have a robust reporting mechanism. So technically, when setting up DMARC, you don't need this. But what this does is when Google or Yahoo or any inbox receives an email from your domain, they'll remember it. And at the end of the day, they forward all that diagnostics data to whoever you specify here. So you can put your own email here and you can collect those XML reports and manually look at them. There's also vendors such as DMARC Defender. What we do is you put our email address here and we automatically collect, aggregate, and we give insights and recommendations on how to fix your policy and make sure that the emails that you want to send are being delivered and the bad guys that are spoofing your email are blocked. And this is what it looks like. This is the product we can see here. We were doing Conrad.io. This is my recommended source fixes. Let me make this bigger. We can see Conrad, I needed to fix my DKIM, so this should be refreshed in like 20 or 30 minutes. It runs every hour. And we can also go to analysis and we can see that for my Conrad.io domain, DKIM was not successfully passed. Thankfully, we have that fixed now, so in the future, this should be green. But it'll let me know for my different domains, which emails are being sent, which emails are not being delivered. And then for my different services, it'll automatically detect who my senders are and make sure that they're properly configured. So we can see for my domain Casper.io, I have Mailgun. We can see that they're all being delivered, so everything is set up. And again, if something goes wrong in the future, it'll send me an email letting me know that, hey, maybe my Mailgun DNS record was deleted. Let's go fix that real quick. Or there's been a spike in failures, like maybe something is misconfigured. It'll let you know. So again, if business is critical to your organization, I highly recommend using a vendor. Almost all the vendors have free tiers. Just you should have something in place if email is important to your company. And that's it. Like I said, if you have any questions or comments, please let me know in the comments. I'm happy to chat. And thanks for watching.